Hello guys. So today we'll be looking at activity-based costing. I'm currently by the roadside, so you'll be hearing some cars, horns and all that. So you bear with me. So ABC is a more recent development in cost analysis. Okay, I wouldn't dive much into the theory aspect, but it is more related to the basis of absorption of overheads. Okay, so previously, manufacturers were using labor hours and machine hours, okay, to apportion overhead costs, but they realized that it didn't actually, or it wasn't accurately showing the cost incurred. And that was when ABC came into play. Okay, so today we'll pick a question and we'll see how we'll go about it. All right, so let's dive into it. Okay, so Gadget Co. produces three products, A, B, and C, all made from the same material. Until now, it has used traditional absorption costing to allocate overheads to its products. The company is now considering an activity-based costing system in the hope that it will improve profitability. Information for the three products for the last year is as follows. So we have the production and sales volume, we have the selling price per unit, we have raw material usage per unit, okay, that is in kg per unit, direct labor hours per unit, machine hours per unit, then the drivers, the number of production runs per annum, the number of purchase orders per annum, number of deliveries to retailers per annum. Then follow up, the price for raw materials remained constant throughout the year at 1.20 US dollars per kg. Similarly, the direct labor cost for the whole workforce was $14.80 per hour. The annual overhead costs were as follows. So we have the machine setup cost to be 26,550 USD, machine running cost to be 66,400 USD, procurement cost 48,000 USD, delivery cost 54,320, and that's it. So requirement. So we are required to calculate the full cost per unit for products A, B, and C under traditional absorption costing using direct labor hours as the basis for apportionment. B. Calculate the full cost per unit of each product using activity-based costing. Then C. We should prepare profit statement using traditional absorption costing and activity-based costing approaches. All right, so let's start with the traditional base, which is the A. Now, before you start a question like this, okay, so to start with, um, you should remember this that the total cost, which is TC of production, okay, equals direct material cost plus direct labor cost plus overhead cost. Okay, so this is direct material cost. Keep it in mind, this is direct labor cost. Forgive my handwriting. This is overhead. So before you begin any ABC question, you should note that this is how you are going to go about everything, okay? So you are going to find the direct material cost, direct labor cost, and the overhead cost. Now, with the traditional absorption costing method, this is where the problem is, okay? So for this, when you are calculating in the calculation, or when you are summing everything up in the ABC and traditional absorption costing, this is the same. The direct labor cost too will also be the same, but the overhead cost will change. So it is the overhead cost that you are going to either apply the traditional or the activity-based costing. Okay. All right. The question says that so this is gadget company, right? So Gadget Co. So company is Gadgets Company Limited, okay, or the Gadget Co. So now we will start with direct material cost. Okay, that's what we'll find first. So direct material cost. Okay, colon. So to do that, okay, we'll list our products here. So product A, product B, and C. Now, to find the direct material cost, you realize that in the question, everything has been given to us in per unit basis, and that makes our work very easy. Okay, so in that sense, for product A, we have 2 kg. It says the raw material usage per unit is 2 kg for product A, 3 kg for product B, and 4 kg for product C. So we apply same. So here is 2 kg. Now in the question, the price for raw material, or the cost of raw material, was $1.20 per kg. So 1.20. We multiply that, we are going to get 2.40, right? Which is dollars. So please don't forget this. All right, so we'll do same. So for B, it is raw material usage per kilo was 3 kg. We multiply that by the price of raw material per kg, which is 1.20. And we are going to get what? 3.60, okay? Then we do same for C. C is 4 kg times 1.20, which are going to get what? 4.80. So this is our direct material cost per kg, okay? This is per raw material times the per cost, okay? That has given us the cost per kg, okay? All right, so this is as simple as it is. So now we'll look for our direct labor cost, okay? Direct labor cost. So for the direct labor cost, which is this, okay? So we found for this direct material cost, so we are finding the direct labor cost. So for the direct labor cost, we have product A, B, and C. So we open brackets again, and that one, we've been given the direct labor hours per unit, okay? So in the question, for A, it is 0.1, B is 0.15, C is 0.2, okay? So, and the price per labor, direct labor cost, or the wage, okay, or the cost per labor is $14.80 per hour. So we start with A. So A is what? 0.1 hour multiplied by $14.80, and that will give us what? 1.48. Then for B, B is 0.15 per hour, we multiply by $14.80. That's going to give us dollar what? 2.22. Yeah. Then C is 0.2 hour multiplied by $14.80, and that should give us what? $2.96. Okay, so this is very simple. Okay, so direct material cost, we found it. Direct labor cost, that is what we found here. So these are the costs. Okay, now the ultimate one is the overhead cost that you see here. So that is what we are going to find, and that is where I said that you are either going to use a traditional uh, costing method or the activity based costing method. Okay, so we'll be using the traditional costing method first because that is what the A demanded. So we can write here A. Okay, so traditional um, traditional absorption costing method. So with the traditional absorption costing method, the first thing that you have to do is to find the overhead absorption rate, which is the OAR. Okay, and it equals what? Your total production overhead. Okay, so your total production overhead all over your activity level. Okay, so in the question, the cost pool, which is the machine setup cost, machine running cost, procurement cost, delivery cost, they form your overhead. Okay, so you have to add all those figures you see over there. Okay, so for machine setup cost, let's do it here. So in abbreviation, machine setup cost, that will be 26,550, and machine running cost, that will be 66,400. Then for procurement, PC will be 48,000. Then for delivery cost, DC will be 54,320. So you add all of this together and you are going to get 195,270. Okay, so our OAR is going to be 195,270 over the activity level. Now the activity level in the traditional absorption costing, it could be the labor hours or machine hours. Now, if you read the question very carefully, it says that we should use direct labor hours as our basis. Okay, so which means that our activity level is going to be the direct labor hours. Okay, and that one too, we have to find the total hours used in producing product A, B, and C. Then we sum them together. Okay, all right. So that one too, let me do it here. So A will be, so now the production unit or production or sales unit, that is what you are going to use. But that is a production unit. Okay, so for A it is 15,000. So you multiply that 15,000 by the labor hour per unit, okay, which is a 0.1, which will give us what? 1,500 hours. Then you do same for B. B is 12,000 units. So, and that is 0.15. That will give us 1,800 hours. Then C is 18,000. You multiply that by 0.2 hour, and that will give us what, 3,600 hours. So these are all the hours, okay, which means that to produce 15,000 of product A, you need 1,500 hours, okay. Then to produce 12,000 units of product B, you need 1,800 hours. That's what basically it means. So you sum all these hours together and you're going to get 6,900 hours, okay? So that is our activity level. So we put it here, 6,900 hours. And you divide this to get your overhead rate, which is $28.30 per labor hour. Okay, per labor hour. Forgive me, but I guess you understand. So to find your OAR is the total production overhead over activity level. We found your uh, production overhead. You find your activity level in whether it's machine hours or labor hours. But the question hours was labor hours, so we use total labor hours to get 28.30. Okay, so we are done. So this is the overhead rate that we are going to use to apportion. So it is the 28.30 we are going to use to apportion the overhead cost, okay, for product A, B, and C. You get it. All right. So let me show you how it is done. So we have a OAR to be equal to 28.30, right? Okay, so then we come to our overhead cost, okay, as we are following procedure. So we did for the direct material cost, so we did this one, okay. Direct labor cost, that was this. So now we are coming to find the overhead cost. That is what we are coming to do over here. And before you start this, you have to come and find your OAR, which is this, okay? All right. So let's continue. So overhead cost and A, B, C. So here the basis of apportionment is the labor hours, okay? So 0.1 R times the overhead rate, okay, which is this one here, which is this one here. Okay, so it will be 28.3. That is going to give us what? Dollar 2.83. Then for B, the labor hour was what? 0.15 hours. Okay. So multiply that by the rate, and you're going to get dollar what? 4.25. Then the C, 0.20, multiply by 28.30. You're going to get what? Dollar 5.66. So now we've gotten the overhead cost. So we put everything together to get our cost per unit, okay? All right, so let's move on. So we then draw our table. So we have for product A, product B, and C. So we have, let me put the dollar sign here. So we have direct material cost. So we bring our direct material cost, which we had what? 2.40 for A, 3.60 for B, and 4.80 for C. Then we bring our direct labor cost, okay, which is we had 1.48 for A, 2.22 for B, then 2.96 for C. Okay, so now in costing, all direct material, direct labor, direct expense, okay, will give us our prime cost, right? So we just add everything together. Prime cost. So just that we don't have direct expense here, but it's equally the same, okay? So you add this and this, you are going to get what? 3.88. Then you add this and this, you are going to get 5.82. You add this and this, you are going to get 7.76. Okay, these are all in per unit basis. Do you get it? So now you add what? Add your overhead cost. Okay, overhead cost. Then the overhead cost we've calculated over here, so we just put it there. So 2.83 for A, 4.25 for B, and 5.66 for C. So you see, so direct material cost, direct labor cost, which gives us our prime cost. We add overhead cost. Okay. So we add this and this, and we are going to get 6.71. Okay, so this is our cost per unit. Okay, like I said, the question gave us everything in per unit basis, and that makes our work very easy. So this is cost per unit for A. So you add this and this, you are going to get 10.07. Then you add this and this, you are going to get 13.42. So this is our cost per unit when we use the traditional method. Okay. So the question says that we should what? Calculate the full cost. Okay, which is the total cost. Okay. So this is the total cost under the traditional method. You get it. So remember, we followed this format. So the total cost or the full cost according to the question is DMC plus DLC plus OHC. Okay. So you first find the direct material cost, which is per unit and per the price. You know, you are not always going to get a question that is so direct like this, but we'll solve other questions to see how we approach certain questions when they don't give us the items directly. Sometimes they embed them in certain ways that you have to compute for it. So we'll look at all those things, okay? But as simple as this question is, so you just find your direct material cost. Here you find your direct labor cost. Here you come and find your overhead absorption rate. Then you use it to find your overhead cost. Then you come and calculate your total cost to find your cost per unit, all using what? This format. Okay. So that is for the traditional absorption costing side. So then we'll be moving on to what? The ABC. Okay. So I'll end here and I'll continue in the next video. Thank you.